Howdy friends! It's an update on my carnivore diet and a brief review of the Case for Keto from Gary Taubes. 2 weird carnivore benefits: smaller moles and bigger hair. I've had insulin sensitivity problems ever since I was a little kid and I got eczema. And then later on I had trouble after my pregnancy, well during my pregnancy, I got pregnancy-induced hypertension and impaired glucose control. So right after I had my son in my late 30s, I ended up with a bunch of moles on my back. All of a sudden, I had 5 or 6 moles on my back that I'd never had before. And then I also had, all my life, and I'm gonna show you right here, and you can hardly see it, I had this mole right here, and it was at least 3 times as big as this, much larger diameter, and it had a hair coming out of it. And what's really strange is that when I went carnivore, well, when I went keto, the moles on my back started to disappear. They started to shrink, even though my doctor had to freeze off 2 of them. Sorry, I know it's kind of gross. But after a while, they shrank and shrank and shrank, and then after I went carnivore, they disappeared. Now, I'm not gonna show you my back, but maybe at some point I'll take a picture of my back and show you. I wish I had the pictures of when they were still there. I actually had one that would actually catch. It was big enough, and now it's completely smooth, it's completely flat, and it's gone. In addition, my husband went carnivore last year and now he stays low carb, and he used to have some skin tags, and he used to have some little bumps, like some, I think they call them lipomas on his back, and those have completely disappeared. And as long as he stays off of the sugar and off of the junk, the skin tags and the issues with the skin continue to be gone. But I think the most important thing I'm 56 and I'm going to be 57 in April, for so many of the people who watch my channel and who have sugar freedom, a lot of women talk about getting thinning hair and losing hair. And what's weird is the smaller and fewer moles and the bigger and thicker hair actually come down to the same thing, which is insulin resistance, hyperinsulinemia, that having too much insulin in the bloodstream makes the stuff you don't want bigger, and it makes the stuff that you do want to grow smaller. So here's what's happening, is it's actually feeding the growth of the high insulin. The constant high insulin is feeding the growth of the moles, but it's also blocking the production of the hair. So when I go keto and when I go carnivore, what happens is you have this rebalancing of the hormones, that the insulin is at the right level, so it's not blocking the growth of thicker hair, and it's not enhancing the growth of moles. And this is, because this has been on me since I was like 18, and it's pretty amazing that it's almost disappeared now. And I just want to show you just how thick my hair is, because I did steel magnolias twice years ago. One of the first lines in that movie, in the play, is, "Oh, I see a hole," and it's that hole. It's when your hair thins, very often it starts right back here, and you get that kind of hole in the back of your head where your hair isn't thick. And what's happened is that the hole is gone. And so my hair, I did it today. I washed it, used the diffuser a little bit, so I didn't fuss with it a lot. I mean, I didn't blow it straight, because if I blow it really straight, it does flatten out, obviously. A little bit of my Pillow Soft curls and just the natural wave. And it's pretty exciting at 56 going on 57, having seen that my hair was thinning, and my hairstylist also having seen that my hair was thinning, to have my hair be this thick again. About 2.5, 3 years ago, right after menopause, when my stylist noticed that my hair was thinning, she said, I do color my hair, and she said, we need to change you to an organic hair color, and we cannot bleach your hair anymore. No more of the pull through, no more of the foils. And part of it may be that we switched to the organic hair color, and that I'm being a lot easier on my hair. So I admit it could be hair care as well. So let's move on to the Case for Keto. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about this book is because it goes all the way through, because first I went sugar-free, and then grain-free, and then I went keto, and then finally went carnivore a couple of years ago. And the beauty of this book is it actually covers people like Georgia Ede, Dr. Georgia Ede, the psychiatrist who's carnivore, a meat-eating psychiatrist, goes all the way through the levels of carbohydrate restriction until you find the level that works for you. And what's amazing is that in this book, about chapter right around page 207, we start getting into the stories of different medical doctors and the way that they do keto. And they actually have two doctors, one vegetarian, her story, and one vegan, her story as well. And I think the wonderfully diplomatic thing about Gary's work is that his understanding that we do what works for us. There was actually a doctor who overcame obesity, and she did vegan keto. Now, that doesn't work for me, and it's the same for Georgia Ede. She's quoted in this book that you can try. I mean, I've done vegetarian keto, I've done keto, and what I have found is, especially now that I'm after menopause, 3 years after menopause, I find that carnivore is what works best for me. Not just in terms of the ability to maintain my weight, but the ability to maintain my mood. Because I find that as soon as I try to take back some of my favorite carbohydrates, you'll notice my favorite carbs are things like roasted Brussels sprouts, roasted broccoli, roasted cabbage. You see that there's a pattern here with some of these vegetables, that there's a richness to them that brings my cravings back. If I roast a head of broccoli and if I season it right, there's a chance that I would eat that entire head of broccoli. And I think part of it is the roasting and the seasoning brings up the sugars in it. And so I just find that I do better when I leave them out. I will admit that back in 2017, I did Keto Gains with Luis Villaseñor, an amazing program of weightlifting and higher protein, not quite as much fat, ketogenic, and no dairy. And I have to admit, I got pretty lean, but I was hungry all the time. And it was an amazing program. I got amazing results, but I have found that there are things that I want to do. I want to live my life. I just can't handle the hunger thoughts all the time. So if you're like me, maybe eliminating some of those things would be better. And of course, I always say, this is a demonstration, not a recommendation. I just want to tell my story. I don't want to make you change unless you're interested in changing yourself. So I think that those are the most important things that I want to share today. This understanding that for me, just going ahead and going carnivore, bigger hair, smaller moles, better mood, and it just works better for me. I want to thank people like Michael Anthony and Kelly Hogan and everybody else who is out there in the carnivore world talking about living carnivore and how we manage it. Because one of the things that's really important to me is starting to look at, okay, now that I eat mostly meat, I consume less of everything, including meat, but really starting to think about where I'm getting my meat from, trying to get my meat from local ranches. We even have local processing here, so we have the best of all worlds, that not only are the steers raised here, but they're also processed here, that I can actually know the people who are raising the animals, who give their lives so that I can live. And I'm really, really grateful for that. And I think it is important to get the message out that eating meat, especially if when you eat meat, you're curing depression, you're becoming more productive, and you're becoming more aware of everything else you consume in the world, that I do believe that eating meat can really fit in well with people who care about their environment, care about their planet, and also care about making sure that there's enough to go around for everybody. So I highly, highly recommend get this, read it. Gary has made a huge difference in my life. Whether you're keto, whether you're low carb, or whether you're carnivore, what's really cool about this book is it takes you all the way through all of those different iterations of the ketogenic diet. And there's also lots of really good information in terms of things like food lists and things like that. However, Sugar Freedom has lots of food lists too. But if you're carnivore, for me, I'm sticking to all the meats, all the poultries, the fish, the eggs, and a little bit of heavy cream in my coffee. All right, be well, everybody, and always remember, eat for yourself, and I'll see you back here soon in the Sugar Freedom Kitchen. Please leave some questions if you have any questions about what it's like to be carnivore or be keto. Leave them on my channel. All right, be well, everybody. I'll see you soon.